We have significant amounts of work that's in place, but as we work on it, we do start to uncover some pretty thorny issues. And I wanted to just kind of describe a little bit of that and see if there's any feedback from the members of the REMAC. At this time, it is our understanding that the REMAC has authority over staffing standards using the existing certification levels, specialty protocols if we choose to deploy those, specialty general operating procedures if we choose to deploy those, destination options other than an emergency department. However, REMAC does not have authority over requiring or specific curriculums or of creating a new certification level. We're still exploring these issues, and if people disagree with those sort of preliminary conclusions, we certainly welcome that feedback. We will be attempting to come up with a report that is thorough, that kind of starts to explore what the areas of most prudent and efficient activity are for the REMAC without overstepping, and also to, we do plan to, whatever we submit to the REMAC, the plan is for that in whole or at least parts to be submitted to CMAC for statewide approval. I'll take any questions.
Questions for Dr. Majal? Well, thank you and the TAG for your work. Any other unfinished business? All right, new business, we have election of officers and membership review. So it was passed around, the membership tag met by conference call last week on the 14th. The first recommendation was that the current officer should be reappointed. There's a typo there, but Joe Schenker is the chair. I'm first chair, Brad's second chair. That's the current officers, so the recommendation was to reappoint those. The rest of the review showed that when we looked over the membership of the current composition of the REMAC, due to people changing jobs and mergers and acquisitions that constantly go on in New York, the people may be out of position on the thing. So in other words, you may have been a community EMS physician representative, and now you work for the fire department, for example, or something like that. So the two FDNY physicians, Dr. Lyle and Dr. Alexandra, would be moved from the EMS community ED physician seats they currently hold to alternates in the presently seated FDNY physicians. Dr. Basilos and Munjal would be moved from the EMS community administrator seats they currently hold the EMS community ED physician seats. Dr. Shalish will be moved from a non-voting seat to an EMS community administrator seat. District 4 would be asked to fill their vacant EMT paramedic seat and advise that Dr. Langston is interested in taking that seat. The following nursing seats will be vacated due to non-attendance: Mimi Langsam, Eric Cohen, Christopher Sorrentino. RTAC would be asked to provide nursing nominees. I believe Eric Cohen and Christopher Sorrentino have asked to be reinstated and affirmed that they would come.
I don't think we discussed it.
We didn't.
And I think we should give RTAC a chance to give nursing nominees.
Correct.
And before we discuss these two want to be reinstated, I'd like to see their attendance record over the last 1 to 2 years.
That's a valid point.
So I would
Including
move on this, that we remove this piece,
the statement.
the nursing piece, and hold it off for a later time.
And then the final thing that was discussed at the membership tag meeting was that the REMAC bylaws be revised and possibly revised at a future date to update the membership seats. Again, the purpose is to provide balance from all sectors on the REMAC so that there's not unfair representation of any sector, whether it's public, municipal, voluntary, volunteer, that there's adequate and fair representation to try and avoid any type of block situation that could develop. So it was asked that perhaps we want to appoint a bylaws committee to look at the bylaws and propose revisions. So
I think she really put together such a committee.
I think we did. I think we've asked Dr. Marshall to be on the committee.
Sure. Is this an open committee or?
Yeah, you can. Would you like to be on the committee? Do we have anyone else yet? Bylaws? Yep.
Yeah, and also Brad is on the,
And you're on the bylaws? Or you're not on the
Is
bylaws?
there fair representation on the committee?
We would like fair representation. That's why I'm saying we're establishing this committee. If you would like to represent your sector, speak up. So Doug or,
yeah, I mean, Now we have
Yeah,
two people
Bradley.
from fire.
Right. Are you gonna do it also,
Is that
Brad,
too
or-
many, or?
We just leave Doug. It's fine.
Just,
Bradley,
you know,
Bradley J. Kaufman.
one person for fire, so you guys can fight it out.
You'll do it?
Yep.
Okay.
Chris.
Commercials.
Yeah, I have a quick question. So why are we actually limiting the amount of number of representation to be at this committee? Shouldn't it be that we can have just an open discussion from whoever wants to participate?
Well, these are voting seats. Yes, anyone can discuss, I mean,
Right, so
recognize anyone
anyone
to
can be a
speak.
part of this bylaws committee then, right?
Hmm?
So that anyone can join
No,
in?
we're not gonna have a huge bylaws committee, it would be, I don't think that's productive, I think we have representation from each, this body will vote on the bylaws changes that would be
Three
presented.
times.
Yeah,
Three
it has to
times,
go through
3 readings,
Right.
and then a vote, so. But I think that, I mean, unless Dr. Marshall disagrees, I think if you have too many people on the committee, it may be counterproductive to
Yeah, but
work.
we'll take recommendations from anybody,
Right,
and then, like you said, it has to come back here 3 times for discussion before it gets approved. So everybody will have an opportunity to speak their mind and put in their opinion.
Perhaps it'd be a good idea if you wrote in, written copies so we can have them collected
Yes.
over the summer.
yeah, so what we'll do is we'll ask that, by email, we'll distribute the bylaws that currently exist. And we would encourage everyone to send any comments, written comments or suggestions. Can they send them to you, Dr. Marshall? Yes.
Send them to the office.
Send them to Marie, who will collate them and,
Give them to me.
yes,
I know.
and track them. Again, it'll be brought here three separate meetings to be read and discussed, so.
It'll be next year before
Yeah, it'll be January at least. You have stuff.
Okay. So the one thing we do have to vote on is the officers, the reappointment of the officers. So is that a motion from the committee, or
Yeah,
do I need a separate motion?
I'll move the motion into it.
There you go. Second, did I just call second? I'll second.
With the correction that was made earlier.
Yes, with the correction to reflect the current positions, right, the 1 and 2.
Are we voting only on the officers now?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
right, we don't have to vote, do we have to vote on the other stuff, or?
Yeah, I thought we were going
We're
to
gonna vote on all of
vote
it?
on all of it, yeah.
Okay, should we separate this out and do the
Yeah.
officers? Let's do the officers and then we'll go to the other stuff on this agenda, because I don't want to,
Yes.
right. So, all in favor of the current officer slate being reappointed?
Yeah.
Opposed? Abstentions? 1 abstention. 2 abstentions. Okay, now, I guess we can go point by point for voting on this one? The FDMY physicians,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
I think it's worth noting that since these are REMAC appointments, they do have to be approved by REMSCO. I believe.
Oh, yes.
Next week.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to vote on them, then it goes to REMSCO for approval, yes. So the next item is the 2 physicians, Dr. Alexander and Dr. Lai, will be moved from the ED, community ED physician seats they currently occupy and made alternates to the presently seated FID physicians under the designated FID. Please, go ahead, comment.
Yes, I think that this bylaws committee needs to do a much deeper review as to how many seats each organization should take and have. I think that, New York City is now parsed out into 3 or 4 large health organizations: Northwell, Mount Sinai, New York Presbyterian, and FDNY is by far the largest body with the largest number of paramedics, and probably it should have the largest representation in this body. And I think that the bylaws or the seat committee needs to review that before we vote and approve these changes.
Dr. Langs.
Well, the problem is that if we don't vote on membership, we're not gonna have any meetings for the next 3 or 4 months because there's no members. And if we have no meetings,
Why is that a
if
bad?
we have no meetings, then we can't change the bylaws, because the bylaws have to come to a meeting with a quorum 3 times before they can be voted. So unfortunately, like in politics, you have to vote for membership now, otherwise you have no quorum to meet. And the bylaws committee will get their act together, and then for next year, then they'll have to, it'll change, but you can't just do it that way.
Just a point of information
Might
on
as
your
well go home.
representation, so I think currently, correct me if I'm wrong, the FDNY has 5 physician seats currently on the REMAC, right? And then the non-physician commissioner,
Yeah, but in actuality, what's seated is you have 8 fire department positions that are
Right.
seated, not, that's.
right, because again, in this situation, these people, when they were seated in those seats, I believe they didn't work at the time for the fire department. Dr. Isaac?
All right, you have people here wearing multiple hats, so they're going under, not their, maybe their full-time representation, and they're just being added on to other groups. You know, it seems like the fire department in particular is only under fire department headings, and that's where reducing the number of seats. It should be any different than anyone else here on this committee. There's several people here who represent other organizations, but they're going under different titles. I think they should be tabled until we have further discussions about this.
Dr. Marshall?
The current bylaws have this membership list, the current one we have with the seats assigned to organizations and other individuals, which you can change through a bylaws committee and make the changes to the bylaws to change the membership, which is okay, and that's fine. But as you just said, I think you gotta have some members to,
Okay, but I think there are certain biases towards the fire department, moving them under, you know, only fire department, where you have people who represent different organizations just being fit into certain categories. So they
That's how
have a
the
position.
membership is set up.
It's, you know, we all have multiple hats in what we do and so on, I understand that. But the same thing given to others should be given to the fire department as well. And I'm not talking about changing the bylaws right now, that's.
So the motion is just to continue the current membership until,
The motion is to make these changes to be consistent with the currently existing committee structure, right? Until the bylaws are changed and may redistribute seats.
So you're moving people
That-
around, we're
That
not
was
saying
my,
changing the structure.
that was, I mean, you were on that call too, that was my understanding of what we're doing. Do you have a different?
because I think what
Yeah.
Doug's saying is we should, maybe, it sounds like there's a motion to keep the membership as is until we have a chance to review the bylaws.
So that could be a motion, that hasn't been a motion yet. Are you offering a motion, Doug, that the membership remain the way it is currently until the bylaws
Brad's
committee?
speaking through me, yes.
Is that your, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, do you have a second?
I'll second. I second it.
Discussion on that.
There's gonna be time limit, until such time as the bylaws.
Right, so your motion will then read, the membership, the current allocation of memberships into the seats that they're in will remain the same until such time as the bylaws committee presents their amended bylaws and they are approved.
And then the nominating committee will have to still.
And then at that time, the nominating committee would have to do whatever they need to do to be consistent with the new bylaws.
Correct.
Still seconding that?
Second.
All right.
Yes.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor of, again, it's keeping it as is till the bylaws committee makes their recommendations. All in favor? Anyone opposed to that? Any abstentions to that? Okay, so the current structure of the REMAC will stay as is in the current seats people are in until such time as the bylaws committee reports back to us on proposed changes.
Okay.
And the officers are reappointed.
Well, the office is already reappointed,
Right.
so you're okay.
Okay.
The
I-
officers are on undisputed seats.
Right, well, makes it easy, right? I believe where's Dr. Simon? He had something. Oh, go ahead, yes, of course.
So, Matthew Harris is gonna be,
Correct. He will-
unfortunately, come to a point where commuting from Denver will be
It's a problem,
difficult for
yes.
him. So,
He did tell us that, so he was our, I believe, he was our pediatric?
Yes.
person? So if someone has a recommendation for that, or knows someone, we'd like to fill that seat, but
I'm talking about like remotely, he said it's.
we're gonna Skype him in for the meeting?
Yeah, no.
So,
No, that, he said it was okay, that he won't be able to make the meetings.
so he's
He's gonna need to
he has
have-
no alternate.
He has no alternate.
So that will be an open seat then, if someone has a pediatric.
For the record, a
Physician, if they
Northwell
like that.
physician, it's, my block is now
No,
decreased.
you have too many
so
in your
you know.
block already, sorry.
Because he was a Northwell physician. We always vote together.
Between you and the fire department, it's gonna be very close.
I'm down to 2.
Thank you for that point. Dr. Simon, I believe you had some new business you wanted to bring up regarding the pediatric.
Well, I just wanted to get a feeling from the group about the pediatric transport in the city. I understand that we're asking CMAC to reduce the requirement from 60 minutes to 30 minutes. But I'm just trying to understand what is now the existing guideline. Is it 60 minutes, because that's what CMAC said? Or is there no guideline and everyone is going wherever?
It's a good question. I don't, well, maybe someone from operations can, what is, currently, is there one?
There's no regional
No
one,
regional guideline.
but for the 911 system, it's 30 minutes.
Right. So within New York City 911 system, there is a 30-minute currently, but there's no regional rule in effect currently.
Okay. And do we believe that that's now being followed?
If there are 911 calls, I believe, I mean, the question is, do we believe that that 30-minute rule is being followed and they're being brought to a pediatric-specific trauma center within that 30 minutes as opposed to?
Yes, I don't know.
I can speak for that.
Yeah.
In my area, my division, absolutely, they're coming up, and it's being discussed in trauma meetings as well.
Same thing is being, it's followed through in the Bronx.
So that's
Yeah.
two divisions.
No, but it's not so much division, we have a policy.
Well, you're all here, yeah.
Yeah, no, so it's
We
policy.
follow rules.
Yeah.
Do not do your,
So, but, it's possible, if people are not, just to answer their assignment, if we have crews that are not following that, then that should be referred to the division medical director to review that case and so on.
there is ongoing QI by the
Yeah.
fire department on that, so,
Absolutely,
yeah.
and if there's any cases where you have any concerns, please bring it to us and we'll review them.
I mean, where's the concern? Because I'm just curious, because it seems like 30 minutes is a pretty long time in New York City to get to a pediatric trauma center. Are you concerned that not enough patients are going to the pediatric trauma centers?
So we're the only pediatric trauma center in Brooklyn, 600,000 kids. We're probably within 30 minutes of most areas of Brooklyn, and I am amazed at how little pediatric trauma actually comes to us.
I can speak to that, 'cause I looked at the Brooklyn numbers. For the month of January, the rule went into effect February 1st of this year. In the month of January, 68% of pediatric trauma went to Kings County Hospital. In the month of February, after this rule was in effect, they got less than 30%. So I would say that most people are following this rule.
But a little further out, I can attest that a little further out in East New York, Brownsville, that time limit is really on the cusp. I've seen a couple of cases where they're within 2 to 5 minutes of that number when I actually look it up. And from that area, it's very difficult to get to Maimonides.
And it's also a learning curve. We're disseminating this, repeating this to our providers and members, so.
No, I understand that. I was just seeking clarity.
All right, thank you. Any other new business? Yes, wait, hang on, we got more new business.
My name is Michael Greco, Vice President of Local 2507, representing the police and paramedics. We wanted to ask whatever committee was being looked at for the REMAC bylaws, if they would consider a voting seat for the unions that represent the paramedics and EMTs. We also, I speak for 3621, which is the officers, so we have about 4,500, and we were wondering if you consider making a primary and an alternate, an ad hoc officer and a primary.
Physician?
No, we have paramedics.
Only physicians can vote.
Right, so it would be a non-voting seat.
Or medical standards?
Medical standards, yes, they could vote, but on REMAC, it would be a non-voting seat. But again, I would refer that to the bylaws committee
Right,
for
so
their,
I was just coming
yes.
in to ask what the bylaws.
Be the bylaws.
And if they would, if they have
So,
any questions.
yeah,
they reach out.
you could speak, just email Marie, formally what you're requesting, and then we can make sure that gets to the bylaws committee. And
You got it. Thank you very much.
any other new business? Well, with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful, safe summer, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.